right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm your host, Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co host, Jake Ellenbogen. And we are continuing with our 2022 NFL Draft Prospect interviews. And joining us on the show right now, we have Cole Johnson, quarterback from James Madison. How are you doing, Cole?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll get started right away. Just want to know when you started playing football, at what age, and when you kind of figured you could potentially do this in the NFL one day.
Yeah, I'd say I've been playing football since I was really young, even from flag football, all up into, playing tackle football. But I didn't start playing quarterback until right about the start of high school. I played a bunch of different positions, being a taller guy, and that kind of molded me, and to kind of just thinking about playing different positions. And my father and my grandfather thought it'd be a good idea to play quarterback. Could use your intelligence along with your height, and learn to throw out from there. And so I kind of progressed through high school and played pretty well enough to earn some offers. Obviously wasn't a huge recruit, 2 or 3 star recruit. Went to James Madison, a really good FCS program, and sat the bench for 4 years. Played a little bit here and there, but obviously getting my 2 years of starting with the COVID spring season, and then obviously this last fall, and kind of really excelling this last fall. So I'd say kind of over this last fall, it really hit me that I got a shot, maybe making it to NFL.
For sure. And growing up, did you watch a lot of the NFL? And if so, who was your favorite player?
Yeah, I always watched. I'm actually a Dolphins fan. My family raised me as a Dolphins fan, but so watching a lot of them, and obviously having to play Tom Brady twice a year, and just kind of his style, his leadership and competitiveness. But I'd say I watched a lot of different quarterbacks growing up, and kind of understanding the game, and I love both college and NFL football. So I wouldn't say there's one guy. Obviously you always make comparisons to certain people, but I love Brady. I love a lot of those quarterbacks, Manning, and I love watching the game.
Now, what made you, Cole, decide to play at James Madison?
Yeah, it was a few different factors. I think close to home. I'm a Virginia Beach guy, so it was about 3 hours away. I think at the time I had a couple of FBS offers, but you're looking at it, you can kind of come in and compete right away, and play still at a high level in James Madison, and you compete for championships every year there at the FCS level. And I thought it was a really good fit for me up and coming, and then to be able to win a national championship there and go back a couple more times, it was really special.
For sure. And, to someone who might be interested in playing football at James Madison, how would you pitch the school to them as well as the football program?
Yeah, I think if you look at the past 4 or 5 years, obviously an incredible growth from becoming a perennial top FCS team, and kind of now moving into the Sun Belt, the FBS world. And I think you just see how quickly rising and how fast this program is turning into more of a national recognized brand. And I think it's something that comes along with attention from the NFL as you get bigger and bigger. So I think you're going to compete in a great Eastern Division of the Sun Belt with teams like Marshall, App State, Coastal Carolina. So some really good football you're going to start playing in the next couple of years, and I'm excited to watch it.
Now, one thing is when you play in college, and mainly when you're in the FCS or the FBS or what have you, you're always against tough competition. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Even if you play for the Citadel, for instance, you're going up against Alabama, at least once a year. So you've gone up against plenty of guys, but is there one guy that stands out to you that you would call the toughest player that you've faced throughout your time in college?
That's a good question. I'd say as far as somebody I faced this year, a guy from Villanova, a corner, Christian Benford, I think his name. Going in, I think he had six interceptions the first 5 weeks, and I think he's getting some looks at the NFL level right now. And we had a really good receiver who just recently transferred to South Carolina, Antoine Wells, and they kind of had a really good matchup. And I haven't seen, any corners really be able to compete with that guy, and he stuck with him the whole game. So that's probably the best, corner I've faced, I think.
Yeah, and is there any favorite game that you played in during your college career?
That's a great question. Actually, my freshman year was the year we won the national championship, and I kind of started out as a redshirt guy and probably a third or fourth string guy on the roster, and then we had an injury to the second string guy, so I kind of moved up to that second string role late in the year. I'd been on scout team the whole year. And then our first string guy got hurt, and I ended up having to, come in against Villanova, and then started at Elon that year. And it was my first ever start as a freshman, and we ended up, I played really well, and we ended up winning and ended up winning the national championship the year. So I think that's probably the most special game, is kind of just, looking back on that.
In your opinion, playing the quarterback position, what is the most important trait?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that goes along with it, but I'd say intelligence is probably the biggest thing you got to have as a quarterback. In terms of, you got to know where your 11 guys are on your side of the ball, and all the 11 on the other side, and just having the intelligence to read defenses. And I think it's probably the hardest position in all of sports, as far as you have to know so much, and that takes so much of a physical toll on it. And you can do everything right on your end, and one mistake by somebody else, really hurts you. So I think having that intelligence to be able to kind of read defenses, understand plays, understand concepts, is something that really, is necessary at quarterback.
And what would you say is your biggest strength as a player?
Yeah, I think if you look at me, I think, I play with a lot of touch and accuracy, good intelligence, and good able to understanding of the game, and coverages, and able to read a defense. And so I think I have, underrated athleticism. I wouldn't say I'm, over athletic, but I'm able to make a play when I need to. And I think, be able to kind of sit in the pocket and maneuver, in that pocket, and escape pressure when needed. But, I think just, touch, accuracy, at all levels, and then just intelligence, understanding defenses, and my competitiveness and leadership, I think really what sets me apart.
Now, Cole, I once saw an interview where Aaron Rodgers described the quarterback position as one that you essentially can never be perfect at. You can always get better. Is there something, in your game that you're really looking to improve on, and maybe even fine tune going into the NFL?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the most special thing about, the quarterback position. I think he's right on there. Is there's so many facets of it, both mentally and physically, that you can always improve. I mean, even a guy like him who won MVP, he knows he got so much to improve on. Look at guys who've been in the years for 10, 15 in the league for 10, 15 years. They have so much to improve on. So, I think I can, obviously been put on a little more weight. I played at about 215. I'm up to about 220, 225 now. And then just a lot of the NFL schemes and footwork, I think, is something that I really need to work on. Being under center maybe 10, 15 times in my college career, something you're going to be a lot more at the next level, and just understand the speed of the game is going to be a lot different. I think at the top of the FCS, there's a lot of great teams, and they compete with a lot of FBS, but if you look top to bottom, the competition just isn't quite as good as FBS level. And then you think about the NFL's, it can even hold another level of that. So just understand there's going to be a lot level raised in my competition. And I think, pocket maneuver ability and pocket awareness is something I can work on, arm strength, throwing from different angles. So I'm always working and always training to, kind of improve those.
For sure. And this next question is just kind of a fun question, but if you had to pick one receiver to throw a touchdown to in the NFL, who would it be?
That's a great question. Might have to go with Tyreek Hill. I love guys with just speed, and I think I could probably throw it as far as I could, and he just run under it. So I'll go with Tyreek Hill.
And you're a Dolphins fan, so
yeah, exactly.
No, I don't think that's a bad one at all. It'd be a lot of fun being able to throw a deep ball to a guy that can just basically run underneath it, no matter how far you throw it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, in regards to our podcast, if you don't already know, we are a Ram-centric podcast during the majority of the season. So I want to ask you if you have spoken or, had any sort of contact to the Los Angeles Rams throughout this process?
I haven't personally had contact with them. I know they were at my pro day, and my quarterback coach said he talked to them a little bit about me. And so I'm not sure, if they are interested or not. I've heard from, various teams, but from what I understand, there's, some teams that will be, talk to you and interview before the process. And there's even some teams that kind of don't let it be known that they're interested in you and they won't talk to you. So, I haven't heard anything from them, but, we'll see, in the next couple of weeks what happens.
Well, the Rams are one of the teams that will literally never contact a player and then draft them.
Gotcha.
It has happened several times that we know of. So yeah, definitely interesting that they talk to your quarterback coach. So they definitely are keeping an eye on you. But yeah, we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. But to close this out, just in your own words, who is Cole Johnson as a player and who is he as a person?
Yeah, I think as a player, you're going to get somebody who's the toughest and most competitive guy in the field, and that works, relentlessly to always improve, what they, aren't as good at. And I think, I'm patient and humble, and I've, shown that throughout my process that I had to wait a few years, and I didn't transfer at the, first moment that I could. So, I think I'm just a super hardworking guy that, understands the game of football and has gotten better and better, and my potential still hasn't been reached yet. And given the right opportunity to, develop under a certain coach or a certain staff and under a certain great quarterback, I think that'd be a great opportunity for me in the NFL. So as far as a player, I don't think you'll get somebody who'll work harder than me and put in more, effort than me. And then as a person, I think, I'm just a smart, hardworking, just humble person. That'll go out there and put the work in every day, and hope I can make the team and make it in the NFL.
Well, I love that answer, Cole. And just kind of finishing up here, off the gridiron. I just want to want you to give us 3 recommendations: a TV show that we should watch, an album we should listen to, and a snack that we should try and eat.
Gotcha. So TV show, I'm gonna go. There's a show called Fargo. The first 2 seasons, it's a different kind of setup every season, but the first 2 seasons are some of my favorite TV shows I've seen all time. They're kind of not as well known as a lot of the big shows. An album, it's a great question. I'm not a huge music guy, but I'd say some of Kanye's old stuff, maybe Homecoming. I'm a big old Kanye guy, not as much as his new stuff, but anything 2000, 2010 is my Kanye stuff. And then snack, let me think of snack. I like the wasabi and soy sauce almonds. They're a little spicy, and they taste amazing. So, and they're pretty healthy for you. So that's my 3 for you.
That does sound very good, actually. I do like almonds, and I like that flavor. Interesting. I definitely will need to try that.
Yeah, they're very good.
Haven't seen Fargo, but yeah, the old Kanye, good recommendation there for sure. But anyways, thank you so much, Cole, for coming on the show. We know it's a really busy time, a very exciting time. We're excited for you. Definitely will be following your journey, seeing where you end up and what happens. We'll definitely be in touch. But until the draft in 9 days, stay healthy, take care. And again, we're excited for you and we wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Cole. You take care. Stay healthy.